The St. Louis Cardinals dropped their series to the Detroit Tigers, but in the grand scheme of things, should really feel good about where they are at this point in the season.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast on X at LO_Cardinals. We're also on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on anything. TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This right here is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode is being brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So I'm not exactly here to blow sunshine and rainbows up your butt. But at the same time, we're not here to be sad about what just happened at Busch Stadium over the last 3 days. Specifically the last 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. But the reality is the Cardinals fall to the Tigers on Wednesday in what appeared to be set up as a very winnable game for them, which makes this loss even that much more disheartening. But I'm not angry about what went down. The Cardinals had Andre Palante on the mound while the Tigers chose to push Jack Flaherty back so that he could pitch in their upcoming series against their AL Central rival Cleveland Guardians, which means another bullpen game for the Tigers. Now, that matchup, in theory, would favor the Cardinals, even though it feels like over the years, and I don't know if there's a stat for this or not, but it feels like over the years, the Cardinals have kind of struggled with bullpen games. It hasn't been the case so far this year as much, but it feels like over the years that they just don't do well against them. I don't know why, but they were good against it on Monday. They were just fine. But it didn't work out the way that the Cardinals had hoped or how us as fans had hoped, because the Tigers bullpen was able to silence the Cardinals offense to a tune of just one run on 5 hits in this 5-1 loss. There were a couple of spots too that really stood out to me in this particular game on Wednesday, where the Cardinals had chances to get the momentum back in their corner after the Tigers took that early lead, which, by the way, if you noticed, whoever got the lead first in these games ended up winning these games, which was something that stood out to me. So starting early, getting ahead early, seemed like something that you would want to do, or at least try to do. And the Cardinals were unable to do it. Not that they weren't trying to score a run. I'm just saying that Detroit ended up scoring twice, scoring first in the last 2 games. They go on to win those games. Tigers took an early lead in this one too. Now, these 2 big moments that I'm talking about that really stood out to me involve 2 guys. Nolan Arenado, and the other one involved Jordan Walker. So I want to start with the Nolan Arenado one. Second inning, 1-0 Tigers at this point. The Cardinals get a leadoff walk by Ivan Herrera, who's been incredible. And then our boy Biscuits, Alec Burleson, makes the anti-shift fans everywhere just grin from ear to ear when he lays down a perfectly placed bunt down the third baseline, base hit. So now you got first and second. There's nobody out. In comes Nolan Arenado, the vet. Hit the 2-run bomb off Skubal on Tuesday. Maybe things are going better for Nolan Arenado. And he does one of the things, and my everydayers will know this, that I get, pardon my French, but I get so pissed off about. Because you've got a situation where first and second, you've got runners on base. You got a pitcher who is rattled a little bit. 4-pitch walk to Ivan Herrera. Bunt single, probably pretty annoying from a non-bunting type of guy in Alec Burleson. If I'm a pitcher going through those situations, I'm a little upset right now. I'm like, I'm frustrated. I'm bothered by what's going on. I'm a relief pitcher making a start. This isn't like my normal situation. Things are weird. And Nolan Arenado swings at the very first pitch that he sees. Now, if this is something that is center cut. Okay, he's trying to ambush a fastball, trying to drive the ball. He's looking for something either middle in is what he's looking at. That's the Nolan Arenado sweet spot, right? Middle in, low in the zone. That's kind of where he does a lot of damage. If that's where like a four-seam fastball floated into and Nato took a crack at it, I probably wouldn't be as upset. But it wasn't. It wasn't. So I'm not going to be lenient about this. It was a sinker outside. Wasn't a strike. And if it was, it just clipped the very outer portion of the strike zone, just off the plate. Maybe the ump calls it for a strike, but it's not, it's not so far off that it's, egregious to swing at. But in no universe is this a pitch that Nolan Arenado, the Nolan Arenado that we know and love, the notorious pull hitter, should be swinging at as a first pitch swinging situation. It is nowhere near where the Nolan Arenado danger zone is. And for whatever reason, he swings at it. Pops it up into shallow right field. Nobody can advance. Wasted at bat. Wasted chance to do any damage. Bad in every way. And I'm sure he knows this, but what are you swinging at? What did you see that said, ooh, there it is. That's the one I got to put the bat on. I would love to hear what it was, but it just deflated the inning, right? Nolan Gorman comes up next, and he hits the ball decently. It just, goes right to the left fielder, lines out, and then Jordan Walker, although he hits the ball hard, grounds out to the third baseman who made a nice play over there, granted. But there it is. Inning's over, missed opportunity number one. And as soon as it happened, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Why so aggressive right there on a pitch like that? I just didn't understand it. I didn't like it, as you can tell. So that's the first one. That's the first one that stood out to me. Then there's the second situation. We go to the pivotal seventh inning. And this is where the game is really in the balance. That at bat takes place early on with Arenado in the second inning. All right. Now we're a ways down in the game. Now we're in the seventh inning. Okay. And things are getting sweaty. And the game is in the balance. And you've got Jordan Walker up in a huge situation. And it was a very frustrating at bat. And it's something that we just got to talk about. We got to talk about it next because I don't know anybody who was all that happy with what they saw there. So we're going to discuss that next coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? It happens between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment. It's really easy to lose track of where the money in your accounts go. And that's where Monarch Money comes in to be your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money, it's not just a budgeting app. It's so much more. It's a complete financial command center, and it's really going to help you out. It's going to track all your accounts. It's going to track your investments. It's going to track your spending, and it all happens in one place, which is great. So you can stop just managing your money, start building your wealth. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you just go to Monarch Money. You just use the Monarch Money app, and it takes care of all this for you to check your finances, to track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. And as a married man, you're got shared accounts that you're working with your significant other. I do it with my wife, and it makes that whole situation much more smooth. You can track shared and personal accounts. You guys can set goals together and stay on the same page and do it without the stress, which is great. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And that's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Feedback is always welcome and encouraged. A lot of frustrated feedback about this next at bat. You get guys up in key situations, and when they don't come through, people are going to get upset. And there's a certain handful of guys that are currently the guys that are going to catch a lot more hell than others when they don't come through. And this is the at bat that is going to get the most attention from other talk shows and stuff that deal with the Cardinals in this 5-1 loss to the Tigers. And it should be, because it's the 7th inning. Your guys are showing fight to get back into things. It's still, a close game at this point. 3-1 ball game. You just need that one big hit, and you've got a guy that, that you're counting on, that you have put your faith into to be a big part of your future coming to the dish in Jordan Walker. The Cardinals have repeatedly said that, they're going to stick with Walker and Gorman this season. You want them to send them down or cut them or whatever these crazy ideas that some fans come up with, that's not going to happen. So you might as well save your breath. Stop wasting your time typing it out to people and saying, what are we doing with Walker? This is a failure. It is May. They're not going to make rash decisions in May. Okay? It's not going to happen. They're going to keep trying with these guys, and hopefully, eventually, they'll become better ball players for it, and that this team will become better for it. But they're going to stick with these guys, okay? Just, it is what it is, so get ready for it. You're going to have to put up with it for the rest of the year. They got to find out what these guys can do and what they can't do. And to do that, they got to play. And I'm fine with it, because the Cardinals have been winning despite the struggles of Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman at the plate thus far. But here's this moment, and you want to see one of these guys in these moments right now, because you want to see what they're going to do in a crucial situation. It's going to be a big part of their development. So let me recreate the scene just real fast. 3-1 ball game at this point. Alec Burleson leads off the inning, and he gets that bloop single, right? Arenado strikes out on 3 pitches, just a gross at bat, really non-competitive. Really tough day for Arenado at the plate. He looked, how there's those moments where we've seen Arenado where it looks like he's never swung a bat before? That's what this day looked like for him. It was just one of those, let's flush that one, because that is a turd of a day. But then another one of the fan favorite punching bags steps to the plate, Nolan Gorman, against the lefty, no less. He laces a base hit to right field. And now the go-ahead run is coming up to the plate. And it's Jordan Walker facing a lefty. And like I said, this is what you want. You want to see these guys and what they can do in these situations. Gorman just came through with a base hit. You're like, all right, here's the spot for Jordan, right? Young guys like Burley, Gorman coming through and putting it on the shoulders of someone that you think will be a future 3, 4, 5 hitter in your lineup with Jordan Walker. Can he rise to the occasion? Are we going to see something special here? We've seen little glimmers of it from time to time. Home run in Kansas City obviously was a big moment. Hit that big double off the wall in what was that, Monday's game, which was smoked. That's what we're looking for, right? Because they're going to continue to pitch him low and away. You know where it's going to go. You got to hit it. You got to take it that way. That's what we're working on with Jordan Walker right now. During this at bat, the Cardinals show very good awareness, because great base running, because they end up scooting up from first and second to second and third on a wild pitch that it was blocked, but it got far enough away that Burley and Gorman, they got good jumps, moved up to second and third. Beautiful stuff. Now you got the game tying run in scoring position at second base. So now things are even better for Jordan Walker, right? The risk of the double play is gone. Now you're just like, at the very least, you want to either get a ground ball to the right side or a fly ball to at least get one run in, right? That's the goal. 2-2 count on Jordan, and pitcher Tyler Holton is clearly relying on the changeup. All right. The scouting report says changeup. That's his thing. Has thrown it in the same spot for a strike twice in this at bat already against Jordan. His other 2 pitches are not even close. Again, non-competitive pitches. The only 2 that were strikes and were anywhere near the zone were the 2 changeups. So if I'm Jordan Walker in this situation, changeup down or down and away is where you need to be looking. That's probably what he's going to go with, right? And if he blasts a fastball or a cutter or something like that past you, hey, got me. but that's what you should be looking for. And Jordan takes a changeup that clips the bottom of the zone and goes down looking. And I got kind of a photo of his reaction because he was pissed. He was not happy about this at all, visibly upset with the call. But according to the little strike zone box, it was a strike. It was in the strike zone. And even if it was a hair low, you have got to be protecting there. You cannot leave a pitch that close up to the umpires to make the call and say that it's a ball. You have to be ready to pull the trigger. And he watched the pitch and he watched the moment go right by him. And it was very frustrating to watch. I don't know what else he was looking for. The plate is not that big. So the last two strikes that he threw to you were in the exact same spot almost. This one actually was even closer to the middle of the plate. It wasn't even like on the outer portion of the corner. It was even closer to the middle. And he just watched it. Just watched it. That was tough. Ali then pinch hits with Pozo for Victor Scott. I know some people online were like, oh my, what is he doing? I think he was just looking for a big fly from Pozo there. I think that was the thought process. Plus, earlier in the game, Victor Scott got hit on the arm, so I don't know how well he was feeling after getting hit. I think I got a picture of that too. Do I have that? Yeah, sort of. Check this one out on YouTube so you can see the ball coming away from him. But it got him like right there on the left wrist forearm area. So I don't know. Maybe Victor wasn't feeling all that great, but went with Pozo, who doesn't strike out a lot, and he flew out to end the threat. Boom, poof, innings over. Tigers end up tacking on two more in the ninth inning against Chris Roycroft, who walks the leadoff guy, which is always a bad omen, right? And he inevitably comes around to score because that's the way baseball works. Roycroft has not been good in his last couple outings, 3 runs on 3 hits with a walk in his last inning in the third. The control is just not there. You know, he's starting to get the movement back because he switched that arm angle, but he doesn't know how to control it yet. And although I still see potential in him, and I know a lot of people are pissed about him and frustrated with him, and you have every right to be. So it wouldn't shock me for him to get sent back down to Memphis. It's not like he's out of options or anything. So that could happen, and someone else could be brought up to get another shot to succeed. There's other arms down in Memphis who can, you know, come be your last guy from the right side out of the bullpen that you can use. You know, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, you can't just keep running Roycroft out there and he just can't put it together yet. You know, let him go figure it out in Memphis. It's okay. Palante didn't pitch bad per se, but the 4 walks were an issue in this one. 2 of them right before he got pulled. Cardinals walked 6 as a team on the day. 3 of them came around to score. You know, it's leadoff walks and 2 out walks. For whatever reason, they end up usually biting you in the butt. But the offense was very flat, very anemic today. Just 1 run on 5 hits. You know, I know they've played 6 games in 6 days, but you know, there just wasn't a lot of juice on the field today. Only 1 walk, 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Newt had the day off today, so maybe him being out of the lineup, but I mean, he's got to get a day off from time to time. I know they have the day off on Thursday too, but there are times where a couple of back-to-back days are good for these guys. So other guys got to step up when other people are getting a day off. It just is what it is. It's part of the season. You can't expect. This is not Cal Ripken Jr. era where you play 162 every day. Like, it's just not anymore. It's not going to be that way. So if you're an old school person and upset about Newt getting a day off and in front of another day off for the whole team, come on. This is a guy that's dealt with a lot of injuries, and they're trying to keep him healthy, try to keep these guys fresh so that they're not just dead by the time August, September rolls around. So you gotta get them off their feet for a couple of days sometimes. Not a big deal. Like I said, other people just have to step up. I realize this game was disappointing in a lot of ways, because it was. you walk away from it kind of with that was a bad game. It was a bad game. It happens from time to time. It's going to go down, but Padres got absolutely blasted by the Blue Jays today, 14-0. Bad days happen. It happens. Okay. It doesn't matter who the manager is. It happens. Okay. But there are some positive things. There's a lot of positive things, honestly, to take away from this series with the Tigers. Just none of them really happened in this particular game on Wednesday. We're going to jump out of this sadness fog from the series finale and give you some of those highlights to brighten your day a little bit. And that's coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, be sure to check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It is easy to be negative because of how gross the game was on Wednesday. I mean, I'm in all black today. I had the ugly loud shirt ready to go before the game started because I was like, I have a good vibe about this, another bullpen game. And it just nothing clicked. Nothing clicked on Wednesday. So now we're in mourning. We're in the all black today. But let's not forget real quick, because it doesn't have to be like this. I joke about wearing all black. It's not why I wore it. I just grabbed something that was warmer from the closet, to be honest with you. Let's not forget that this Cardinals team, Nobody picked them to be worth a damn this season. Everybody was very eager to pour dirt on the St. Louis Cardinals before the season started. I believe myself to be one of the more positive guys that talks about the Cardinals. I feel like a lot of guys and gals jump all over them. A lot of people want to see them fail for whatever reason. They don't like Mo. They don't like Ali, whatever. That's your personal choice. But nobody thought they were going to be that good this year, right? And they just hung in a 3-game series with the team that has the best record of Major League Baseball. Went to the playoffs last year. Threw their AL Cy Young Award winner in Tarek Skubal against you. And you played well against him. Monday's game was all Cardinals, right? Until it really started raining, and then things got silly in the 8th and 9th inning. But granted, it was a bullpen game for the Tigers, but they showed up on Wednesday, bullpen game again, and proved that their bullpen is pretty darn good, right? So what the Cardinals did on Monday should be celebrated. That's pretty good. 11 runs in 7 1/3 innings against that bullpen. The last inning and a third was thrown by a backup catcher. That doesn't count. Oddly, he shut the Cardinals out anyway, so it doesn't matter. But they looked outstanding on Monday night, the team as a whole. 11 runs, 16 hits, 6 guys with multiple hits. This after putting up just 2 runs in their last 2 games in Kansas City against a very good Kansas City Royals pitching staff. If the Royals go to the playoffs, it's going to be because of pitching more than anything. They don't have a lot of offensive weapons. A couple guys, obviously like Witt and Perez are pretty good. But the Pasquatch, I love that name. But pitching is what drives them. And you saw that in those 2 games, and the Cardinals were able to take 2 of 3 in Kansas City. So beating up on the Tigers bullpen in game 1, that's a good thing. Tuesday night, you got to face Tarek Skubal. Eric Fetty did not have his good stuff early on in that one, and they were playing from behind against arguably the best left-handed pitcher in Major League Baseball right now. And they fought, and they fought, and they fought, and they scratched, and they clawed their way back into that game, and eventually they tie things up at 4 in the 8th inning. Now, obviously, things didn't go great after that. Kyle Leahy is human. Oh, my gosh. The people who were, mad that they didn't go to Helsley in that inning, what, is it Kyle Leahy trash all of a sudden? Did I miss that where he just sucked all of a sudden? He's been awesome. He's been awesome. So they were going to give Leahy another inning because he didn't pitch a whole inning before that. So I find people upset about that. I'm like, what? What? Who's been a better pitcher this year? Helsley or Leahy? And if you say Helsley, you're drunk because he hasn't been. He hasn't. Leahy's actually been better, but he gave up a run. Oh, Heaven forbid. The Arenado home run, one of the few highlights for him in this series, was massive. I was really hoping that would be a big confidence booster for Arenado, but it hasn't worked out that way. He had a terrible game on Wednesday, but it was a huge swing for him and the team. You know, I was really, really happy for him. Ivan Herrera, RBI single on that one, makes it 4-3. Herrera is the real deal. Like it's I'm so glad he's healthy. We didn't lose him for the season with that knee issue, and I'm loving him in the lineup, and they've scooted him up to number 5. They wore down Skubal, who didn't make it through 6 innings. Tigers manager AJ Hinch talked glowingly about how the Cardinals combated what Skubal was doing, their approach against his ace. And, you know, we heard in reports how frustrated Skubal was, that despite striking out 8 hitters, that he couldn't put the Cardinals hitters away like he wanted to, or how he's used to putting other teams away. Skubal had gone 6 innings or more in 6 of his 9 starts so far coming into that game. And 2 of the ones that he didn't were the first 2 starts of the season, where he really didn't pitch all that well and likely wasn't fully stretched out yet anyways to probably go that long. But since then, he's been the guy you saw last year who won the Cy Young, and the Cardinals hung with him. That says something about who this team is and what they can be moving forward. The Detroit Tigers team has the best record in baseball. They've beaten big names. They've beaten the Padres. They've beaten the Royals. They've beaten the Yankees and the Mariners. Yankees, Mariners, both in first place in their divisions. The Padres right up there with the Dodgers in the NL West. You know, the Royals have been playing decently in the Central. You know, I think they're in second place. I think the Guardians are in third, and then it's, I think that's how it is. Guardians are in first. But anyway, point is, it's not like some scrub team. This isn't like a flash in the pan team in Detroit that isn't ready to compete. This is a team that's competing with the cream of the crop in the league. And you saw the Cardinals give them all they could handle in this series outside of Wednesday, where they were flat. Are people talking about the Cardinals as someone that should be mentioned with those big boys? Hell no. And they aren't one of those teams. But I don't think they have anything to hang their heads about after losing this series. They get the day off on Thursday and then have another really good team coming to town in the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you move on. That's just the way that you have to be in Major League Baseball. You know, they hadn't lost a series since April, the Cardinals. So they've been really, really good. It was going to happen eventually, and at least it wasn't against the team that you expected them to beat. You know, the Tigers are a good team. If you're going to lose to a team with the best record in baseball, is someone that, like, all right, but you weren't embarrassed by the Detroit Tigers or anything. You're right there with them. So D-backs come to town next. Got one of my favorite players in the league in Corbin Carroll. It was so much fun to watch, but this is a team that, you know, is hanging with the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants in that powerhouse of the NL West outside of the Colorado Rockies. So it's not going to get easier for the Cardinals, really. It's not the Tigers, but the Diamondbacks aren't, in my opinion, that much more or far off from what the Tigers can do. I think the Diamondbacks are a really good team, but, you know, you want to face the best and see where you stand. From my chair, I see a young, fun, exciting group of guys that is coming together as a team. They're not perfect. There will be gross games like you saw on Wednesday, but more times than not, they're going to give you a hell of a fight on the field. And as a fan, I admire that. And it's been fun to watch so far. So don't let this one get you down. Use it as like, all right, maybe we learned a lesson or something about how to handle these best teams. And you use that and springboard into a weekend with the Arizona Diamondbacks and see if you can get back on track and win 2 of 3 against them. That's the goal. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals. That's the podcast. I'm also available personally at JD Sports Radio. We're on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Please like, subscribe on YouTube, and help our channel and our love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and we will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.